All right, so welcome to Street to Track. So I've got another review for you today. So I've got an Audi A3 in blue, quite a nice blue actually. So I'm quite excited about this review because I've always wanted to drive an Audi, but I've also always wanted to own an A3 specifically, not this one, but the previous ones. But what we're going to do, we're going to look at the outside of the car, then look at the inside of the car, then take it for a drive, and I'll let you know how it feels. But starting with the front, I think the front looks amazing. The aggressive kind of feel you got these like racing stripe lines over here, and then this honeycomb grille that just starts from here and just goes all the way to the floor. The lights look very good, but when they're on, I think these aren't really the sport lights, so they remind me a little bit of like a Mazda 2 that I used to own during the daytime anyway. But overall, the front just looks amazing. A very Audi look though, I would say. But let's go around to the side anyway and just see what it looks like from this angle. I'll be honest, I was just looking at it now, and I do like, there's a bunch of these lines. So you got these lines, like a line here and a line here and this thing, a line over there. So I definitely think it looks good. But I'm going to say, for the benefit of the owner, it does look a bit basic, sorry, but Apple basic. So like, it's very clean. I do like the look of it. I will say though, the alloys, not a great fan. They need to be 19 inches or 18 inches, maybe 5-spoke or something like that. I think it would look amazing. But let's roll around to the back now anyway. I think the back of the car, I do really like the back of the A3. I think the kind of lights do this little sharp thing, which looks kind of cool, I suppose. It doesn't have like any exposed exhaust though, which, I mean, I don't really like, because I kind of like seeing the exhaust. But if it only has a single, then I suppose it makes it look all right. But I feel like a double exhaust on this would just make it look good. But I think overall, the outside of the car, I think it's typical with Audis. They look very good. But they're not like, they don't really pop. So you don't really pass them on the street and say, wow, you know what I mean? So it's a very good looking car, but overall, I think it looks all right from the outside. Now let's move on to the inside of the car. So now we'll just look at the interior of the car. And I think just face value straight away, I think is the best thing about the car. I'll give it a 10/10 from the jump. But I think what I'll do is I'll start with the steering wheel. So the steering wheel immediately from the passenger seat, whether you're looking at it from outside or you've seen it in a video, it just looks like something you want to drive, you know. The only thing is when I have kind of driven or held the vehicle or the wheel or anything, it does remind me of like holding a plate, so a bit unusual. There's also one very useless button on here, which is like an asterisk or something, which you can only assign to like very, very limited items. So a little bit useless overall. I do love the digital dash though. The digital dash looks amazing, and this kind of setup on the top here gives me very much like Lamborghini vibes for some reason. So I don't know, maybe there is some connection there. Center console, impressive. It looks very, very clean. Again, it gives me a little bit of like Lamborghini vibes. Again, not too sure if there's any connection there. The screen over here, very easy to navigate. And one thing I always like to kind of have a look at is the navigation system. So in comparison to iDrive, it's way better. And this reminds me of like those Audi TTs, I don't know what year, but you can have this on the digital dash. So when you're driving, you don't really have to do anything. And you can press view and it will expand the map for you and reduce those little dials that you'll see. So I really like it. The only downside I would say is this clicky lever thing in the middle to go between drive, reverse, neutral, all of that. I'm a bit 50-50 with it because naturally I'm always holding a gear stick or something stick worthy to, you know, shift between gears. So it's a little bit anti-intuitive when I'm using it. But I mean, once I'm in drive, so it's not too much of an issue. So yeah, I think overall the car looks amazing. But one thing I definitely want to shout out is the build quality of everything in here screams premium. I'm not going to lie. And the door panels look amazing. Like they really do. They really like surprisingly make the car feel a lot more premium from the inside. Like I'm looking there and it looks great. So I can't lie. I think it's 10/10 from the inside. But let's take it for a drive now and see how it feels on the road. Let's see if we can do a quick 0 to 60. And let's see how fast the car goes, but let's do it. All right, and hopefully you might be able to hear the noise of the car because it does sound quite nice in sport mode, hopefully anyway. A little bit of wheel spin, which is encouraging. And We at 60. That was quite nice. That was really good. That was about 7. We've got a timer here, about 7.5 seconds. So really impressive, to be fair. But let's take it on some kind of like roads in the middle of nowhere now and see what it's like and if we can have a little bit of fun with it. But I can already tell that we are going to have some fun. Alright, so immediately in sport mode, it kicks into the higher gears. I think one thing that is like just immediately impressive about this car is the weight of the steering. Reminds me a lot about the Mini Cooper that I used to have. So if you haven't heard a little bit about that, check out my intro video. But the steering is a little bit heavy, and so what it does, it just allows you to flick the car into corners, and at quite good speeds as well. Like, so I'm not breaking speed limits here. I'm just going to go a solid, nice and easy 50 miles an hour on 50 roads and 60 on 60 and 70 on 70s. But I can really enjoy those speeds. Like, it's not anything like the 1 Series which I reviewed, which is quite like sluggish and doesn't really push you out of corners. I think this is something that definitely does pull you into and out of corners, if that makes sense. It is front wheel drive, so it's a little bit of a different feeling. But I don't know if you can see in terms of like my body language and how I'm moving, but when I put the pedal to the floor, I do get a very, very heavy like pull, like I'm getting pulled back a little bit, which I do enjoy, but that is at low speed. So when I'm doing, 50 miles an hour, for example, and I want to kick it, into 70, you will move relatively quickly, but it won't necessarily give you that kickback or enjoyment or excitement, but you can overtake quite easily in this car as well. I just want to highlight one thing though, which is this car does shout a little bit, which I like. And am I having fun on this drive? Yes. Like, that's a tick box. Like, I'm not even questioning it. I'm not thinking about, oh, this is a bit like, I'm just having fun. Like, I'm genuinely having fun. Overall, given my decent exposure to the car, in terms of having fun in the car, I'd definitely give it like a 8 out of 10. Like, it is very fun. It's quite punchy. The engine noise is very like impressive. And you can kind of enjoy the flappy paddle gearbox, which I'll probably have a go on at some point as well once I feel confident enough to. But yeah, really enjoying the drive of the car. So you do get a lot of wheel spin with this car as well if you're in sport mode and on some like relatively not grippy roads. It is quite fun. But I'm not gonna lie, like, just everything about driving this car on these side roads and just enjoying the speed limit. Like, I'm going 55 miles an hour now on like a 60 roads. I'm not breaking any laws, but I'm really enjoying the drive. All right, so now that I've had some time to drive the car, I've sat in it, I've got a little bit of a feel of it. I think my own personal review, I'd give it quite a good review. I'd probably give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10, because I think as a package, this Audi in particular and these A3s, they're a little bit like slept on. I think it's got a perfect interior. It's got the exterior, you can't complain. The comfort of like the drive is exceptional, and when you put it in sport mode, the car is like very nimble around corners. Like, the steering, is very similar to like a Mini Cooper, so I feel like I can just be as experimental with the drive as I could with that car. So overall, I'd probably give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Now, if I was a new driver, or never had a car before and I bought this first time, I couldn't give it anything less than a 10 out of 10. Like, you've got everything in terms of infotainment. You've got enough space for everybody else to jump in the back and go on like a road trip. So yeah, that's kind of like my overall review. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.